Host, hello and welcome. I'm so glad you joined me today. If you're here, it's likely because family dynamics, particularly with our adult children, have been on your mind. It's a topic filled with so much love, pride, but sometimes a deep, quiet ache. We've dedicated our lives to raising them, supporting them, and dreaming for their happiness. But what happens when the relationship shifts into territory that feels disrespectful, draining, or simply hurtful? For years, we've been told family is everything, and you have to put up with it, they're your kids. But today, I want to offer a different, compassionate perspective. Your peace, dignity, and emotional well-being in your later years are also everything. You have earned them. This isn't about cutting people out on a whim. It's about recognizing when a relationship has become toxic to your spirit and having the courage to establish a healthy distance, to walk away from the hurtful dynamics, not necessarily from the person, though sometimes that requires physical space too. In this series, we'll talk about 6 specific phrases or patterns of speech that can be red flags. They're often veiled in just being honest or modern thinking, but they can slowly erode your sense of worth. Today, in part 1, we'll cover the first 2. We'll explore what they really mean, why they hurt, and why choosing to step back isn't failure. It's an act of self-respect you've earned. Before we begin, let's acknowledge the guilt. Oh, that heavy, familiar guilt. The voice that says, maybe I'm too sensitive, or I must have failed as a parent for them to talk to me this way. Let's set that down for a moment. You are not a placeholder in their story. You are the author of your own, especially in this chapter. Your feelings are valid. How many times have you heard that after expressing that a comment hurt your feelings? Perhaps they mocked your political opinion, made a cutting remark about your appearance, your home, your spending habits, or even your memories of their childhood. When you flinch or object, the immediate defense is to blame your reaction, not their action. Here, what's really happening? This is a classic technique called gaslighting. It's a way of invalidating your emotional reality. They are essentially saying, the problem isn't my hurtful behavior, the problem is your faulty emotional gauge. It makes you doubt yourself. You start to wonder, am I being an old fuddy-duddy? Have I lost my sense of humor? Let me be clear. There is a world of difference between gentle teasing within a loving, mutual relationship and barbs disguised as jokes. You know the difference in your gut. The former makes you smile and feel connected. The latter makes you feel small, belittled, and then foolish for feeling hurt. Why this is a time to consider walking away from the dynamic? Because consistent invalidation is emotional abuse. It trains you to stay silent, to swallow your pain to keep the peace. At this stage in life, you should be surrounded by people who respect your feelings, not people who dismiss them as a character flaw. Choosing to disengage from conversations that go down this path by calmly saying, I don't find that humorous and I've asked you to stop, and then changing the subject or leaving the room isn't being sensitive. It's setting a boundary. If they cannot respect that boundary, then limiting your exposure to that treatment is an act of self-care. Host, now let's move to the second phrase, which can be particularly painful because it attacks the very core of your life's work as a parent. Host, my therapist says all my issues are because of my childhood, because of you. Oh, this one is a dagger to the heart. In an era where therapy is wonderfully destigmatized and can be a powerful tool for growth, it can also be weaponized. A child engaged in genuine therapeutic work will ultimately be working towards understanding, forgiveness, and managing their own adult lives. They might say, I'm exploring how my upbringing affects me, and that can be a starting point for a mature conversation. But the red flag phrase is absolute, accusatory, and closed-ended. It doesn't seek dialogue. It serves as a verdict. It places 100% of the responsibility for their adult unhappiness, relationships, or career struggles squarely on your shoulders, absolving them of any agency. You sit there replaying a lifetime of sacrifices, the second jobs, the sleepless nights, the bandaged knees, the college tuition, the endless worry. Was it perfect? No, No parent's journey is. You did the best you could with the knowledge, resources, and emotional capacity you had at the time. Why this is a time to consider walking away from the dynamic. You cannot engage with a prosecutor who has already declared you guilty. This dynamic is not a relationship. It's a tribunal. Your role becomes that of a perpetual defendant, constantly defending decades-old actions. Walking away here means refusing to play that role. A possible calm response might be, "I am sorry you are in so much pain. I support you getting help. However, I cannot be the sole focus of your therapy. That is between you and your therapist. When you are ready to have a relationship with me that isn't based solely on relitigating the past, I am here." Then you step back. This does not mean you don't love them. It means you are protecting your own mental health from being constantly on trial. It creates a necessary boundary that forces the dynamic to change. Sometimes, that space allows them to move to a more nuanced stage of healing. Sometimes, it simply allows you to breathe and find peace without the constant weight of blame. Host, these first two red flags are about the erosion of your reality and the denial of your humanity as a fallible, loving parent. They are forms of psychological control, even if the adult child doesn't fully realize it. In our next part, we'll delve into two more phrases that focus on manipulation, money, and your role as a grandparent. These often involve leveraging what you hold dearest to get what they want. Remember, the goal of walking away is not to slam a door permanently. It is to step out of the storm so you can regain your footing. It is to say, "This treatment is not acceptable," and to act in accordance with that truth. You have spent a lifetime caring for others. It is not selfish to now care for your own heart. Today, we move into territory that can feel even more manipulative because it often involves the two things we hold most sacred: our resources and our grandchildren. The phrases we'll discuss today don't just chip away at your peace. They can feel like a transaction, where your love and legacy are the currency. If you've ever felt that your value to your grown child has been reduced to a bank balance or a free babysitting service, this conversation is for you. We're navigating the complex intersection of love, obligation, and exploitation. Remember, our guiding principle remains: you have the right to a relationship based on mutual respect, not utility. This phrase is a masterclass in emotional blackmail. It takes the purest bond, a parent's love, and holds it hostage for money. It implies that your love is measured in dollars and your willingness to say yes is the only true proof of it. The unspoken ending is, "And if you don't love me." We help our children because we love them, of course. We've done it since they were born. But there is a profound difference between a genuine, unexpected crisis, a medical emergency, a sudden job loss, and a chronic pattern of poor planning, irresponsible choices, or an entitled expectation that your retirement savings are their safety net. The key word in this phrase is again. It points to a cycle. You've helped before, often with conditions that were ignored or promises to repay that evaporated. Each loan, which we know is often a gift, was meant to be the last time, the one that finally gets them on their feet. But the cycle continues, draining not just your finances but your emotional energy and trust. Why this is a time to consider walking away from the dynamic. Because this isn't about money, it's about power and respect. It is a financial form of the disrespect we discussed earlier. Your retirement security is not an extension of their line of credit. Walking away here means breaking the cycle. It means saying, with love and firmness, "I love you. That will never change, but I cannot give you any more money. My financial plan for my later years is set, and I need to stick to it for my own security. I am happy to help you brainstorm other solutions, to look at budgets or community resources." Then brace for the backlash. They may call you selfish, stingy, or unloving. This is the test. Walking away means holding your boundary even through that storm. It may mean not answering calls for a while if every conversation is a negotiation. Protecting your financial stability is not an act against your child. It is an act for your own dignity and independence. An open wallet is not a substitute for an open, healthy relationship. Now let's talk about a phrase that can make your heart both soar and sink, because it involves the lights of your life, your grandchildren. This is perhaps the most painful manipulation of all. It exploits the boundless, unconditional love you have for your grandchildren. It knows that the threat of losing them is the most powerful pressure tactic they possess. It turns your love into a tool to extract compliance. Let's be clear. A healthy parent appreciates the loving bond between grandparent and grandchild. They facilitate it because it's good for the child. They don't view it as a commodity to be traded. Why this is a time to consider walking away from the dynamic? Because you must not negotiate with emotional terrorists. If you give in to this lever pulling, you teach them it works. The demands will escalate. More importantly, it creates a toxic undercurrent to your relationship with your grandkids, one that could one day be used to turn them against you. Grandma didn't want to help us, so we can't visit. Walking away here is the hardest step of all, but it is crucial. It means calling the bluff with profound sadness and strength. You might say, "My love for my grandchildren is absolute and unconditional. It is not something I will pay for or bargain for. I will always be here for them with an open heart. I hope you choose to allow that relationship to grow freely because it is a gift to them. But I will not comply with demands to purchase access to the people I love." Then you live your life. You send cards and small gifts to the grandkids on birthdays if allowed. You make it clear the door is open. You may have to endure a painful period of separation. This is an agonizing choice, but the alternative is a lifetime of being manipulated, where every visit is tainted by the price you paid for it. Choosing to walk away from these dynamics is not abandoning your family. It is refusing to have your deepest bonds, your love for your child and your grandchildren, turned into a transaction. It is declaring that your role is grandparent or parent, not ATM or negotiating party. In our final part, we'll tackle the last two phrases. These involve a fundamental rejection of your autonomy and your right to live your life in your later years as you see fit. They are about control over your present and your future. Until then, hold fast to this truth. Love that demands endless payment in currency or compliance is not love. It is a contract, and you are under no obligation to sign it. Host, thank you for watching. Please be gentle with yourself. If this resonated with you, I invite you to join me for part 2. And in the comments below, let's support one another. Share your thoughts or simply write peace if that's what you're seeking today. Remember, you are not alone in this. Until next time, take care.